everybody, welcome to Top 10 Tuesday. It's December 8th, and before we get into what the Top 10 Tuesday list is for this week, let's talk about what's going on in the stew house. Liam's having a bit of a rough day, not holding down food incredibly well, and we might be heading back into the doctors to see if we can do anything to help that, because God knows it's awful for him, it's awful to watch. There's nothing quite like being so helpless to do anything, especially when they're that young, and they can't express what's really going on. They can't say, well, this is what's causing it, or this is exactly how I feel, and it sucks. So hopefully we can figure out what's going on with him and make it better. But other than that, he's as cute and roly-poly as always. Logan had a big day starting with the very moment he woke up because he came downstairs to a fully lit Christmas tree. Insert video here.
It's a Christmas tree. The Santa Claus bring it to my house.
Santa brought it into your house?
Yeah. Ooh, look at that.
Yeah. Is it pretty?
Yeah, it has a cool little light. Oh, it's just white. Like here. That light there. There's a blue light. Ooh, I see presents.
It was goddamn precious. And Michelle said he was just talking about it all day long. Looking at all the baked pine cones, looking at the lights, pointing out the different colors, and looking at the boxes that were underneath that are really just there for decoration. There's nothing in those boxes at the moment. But he's fascinated. And anything that keeps him fascinated is awesome. Can you see my eyebrow twitch? Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Of course, now it's not going to do it. Nope. Alright, whatever. But beyond that, Michelle took him on the first tour of a preschool because we definitely want to get him into one soon. He's just going stir crazy at home, and when he goes stir crazy, we go stir crazy. And I'm sure many parents look at their kids and they think, God, they're so advanced and they can do all these things. But evidently, according to Michelle, who's done a lot of daycare and child development stuff, and her friend, who also has a master's in child development, and her mom, who also has done daycare before, that Logan is not exactly like, leaps and bounds beyond, but he's advanced for his age. So getting him into a structured school program might be just really beneficial for him right now, because when he gets bored, he gets more rambunctious. So we just need more stuff to challenge him mentally. So the first school was kind of a no-go though, but what was good about it was when Michelle was leaving, Logan started crying, big crocodile tears, and saying, I want to go to school. I want to stay in school. So at least he has the desire to go to a place similar to this. And I doubt Michelle's going to have those problems of having to drop him off and have him freak out when she leaves. I think he's ready to go. So she's going to look at a couple other places during the rest of the week, and hopefully she finds one that she likes, and then I'll go check it out, and hopefully we can afford it. For me, things are going okay. Had a bit of anxiety today, just feeling really frantic or almost frenetic, just bzzz, that kind of thing. But kind of worked my way through it, tried to focus on the job at hand. And then also the healing from the procedure is finally kind of going the way that I would like it to go. I can finally kind of sit down at normal speed and not think, oh, this might hurt a lot. And trust me, that's something you don't think about until something like that happens. So that's the house. Now on to the top 10 list for this week, which is top 10 movies that wrecked me. Now I know it might not seem like the manly thing to talk about movies that make you cry, but that's just the way I am. I get so emotionally involved in any movie I watch, and if it's good and if it captures me, it could just tear me apart so easily, but some far worse than others. Now, as usual, these are in no particular order except for the last two. The last two I will save because those I do remember as being specifically and uniquely terrible for me. One of them is still a movie that I love to watch even to this day. The other one I only saw once and I will never watch again. But I still think it's a good movie. Just can't stand that kind of heartache. So, starting at the bottom of the list, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. One of the reasons why this movie hit me so hard was I identified so much with that character, with the main character, not because of what had happened to him, but just the idea of being the wallflower, because really that's what I was growing up. Even to this day, that very much is part of my personality. If I get into a large crowd of people, unless I know certain people in there that I can attach to, I will hang back and just kind of watch things go on. It might be part of the writer in me that I like to watch the stories. I like to watch the narrative flow through the room in front of me. Or it could just be that I'm scared to talk to people that I don't know. But that movie got me good. And for those of you who have seen it, the ending is really what got me. I was doing okay. I was hanging in there, but then the end of that movie, or the kind of climactic reveal towards the end of the movie, I just didn't see that coming, and then that was it. Next, Dead Poet Society. One of my all-time favorite movies, one of the greatest performances Robin Williams ever did, and just the earnestness of Robert Sean Leonard's character and what he goes through in that movie. It was one of those movies that I attached to so much because I have that yearning for knowledge, that yearning to be really excited about learning, and to see people so motivated by experiencing literature and connecting with other pieces and other books of our history and culture. I was all over that. I loved it. And then seeing that kind of get utterly destroyed by an older generation that doesn't understand, that fears the change, that was just horrible. Next, Mask. Now, I don't know how many people out there have seen it. I saw it when I was really young. It's an older movie starring Cher and Eric Stoltz, who plays Rocky. And again, for those of you who've seen it, it's obvious the end of the movie, but it's a heartbreaking story because it's such a lovable character, and it's just one of those stories that captures you because you want things to work out. And I'm not saying they don't work out. Kind of. I don't know. There's no really way to get around what exactly happens in that movie. It's a sad movie. It's really well acted, though. So if you haven't seen it, see it. Maybe you'll be a little bit more prepared than I was when I first saw it. Maybe you'll survive without half a box of Kleenex. Next, and I know you might laugh when you hear about this one in the list, Furious 7. Seriously, people, how could you not get weepy? How could you not get teary-eyed seeing that movie with this 10-minute farewell to Paul Walker at the end? It was just incredibly well done. It was incredibly tasteful for a franchise that is basically known for being over-the-top machismo. This was very sensitive. It was very satisfying, and I thought they gave him a good send-off. But watching it, I kept thinking, I'm gonna make it through this, I'm gonna make it through this, but it kept going and going and going, and finally I just lost it. Next, The Fault in Our Stars. John Green, I respect you, I admire you, I love you out there. You owe me a fresh box of Kleenex, maybe just one of those mini packs. And what's sad about that is that you kind of know what's coming. You're kind of expecting it to be a sentimental movie, and you're expecting to be touched by it, but it just kind of sneaks in on you. It goes a different way than you thought. And next thing you know, you're like, but I wasn't prepared for this. Next, Rocky 3. And no, it has nothing to do with Clubber Lang. You know what it's about. How could you not? Burgess Meredith, adorable old man. And I saw that when I was a very little kid, and I remember just bawling my eyes out. And I remember my mom just thinking it was adorable that I was so wrecked by it. And I'm sure that when Logan or Liam gets really upset by watching a movie like that, I'm probably going to think the same thing. But back then, I remember not being so pleased. Now, these next two go together because of particular situations in my life, and it was kind of just one of those awful ironies, that just universal nut shot that sometimes comes along when you least expect it. So when I had the first conversation with my mom, that she told me about the diagnosis, she told me that she had brain cancer, and the initial prognosis wasn't incredibly good. I knew that I had to leave California, go back up to Washington at least for a little while to take care of her, help her kind of move through doctor's appointments and things. But the movie theater has always been my kind of sanctuary. It's always where I go to get away from the rest of the world, to block everything out and just live somebody else's life for a while. So when I got that phone call, after that was over, that was the first thing I thought of was, I need to go. I need to go somewhere. I need to go to a movie. And I called a friend of mine up and I said, you need to come and get me. I can't drive right now. You need to come and get me, and let's go to a movie. And we went to go see Finding Neverland, which at that point, all I thought it was Johnny Depp playing J.M. Barrie, showing how Peter Pan came to be, the story. And I had no idea about Kate Winslet's character. I had no idea that it was going to be about watching the mom die. And this was the perfectly wrong movie for me to see at that moment. Still a great movie, still holds a certain place obviously in my life, but man, just talk about picking the black spot in the lottery. And you would think that that's the only time I did that, but it's not. Because the next time that happened was after my mom passed away. 2 nights later, I was feeling obviously pretty down. And again, I was like, I can't handle things right now. I need to go to a movie. And I called up a friend of mine. Same situation. I said, hey, let's go see a movie. I need something to kind of cheer me up, to get me out of this funk, just to take me out of it for a little bit. So we went to go see Garden State. And not that the whole movie's super depressing, but seriously, the main character goes home because of his mom's funeral. What the fuck? So yeah, both of those movies unfairly wrecked me because that wasn't fair. That was a low blow on both accounts. Now here are the final two, and these are the ones that anytime someone says what kind of movie, what movies out there have made you cry, these are the two that always come to mind first. First, the one that I still will watch again and again and again because it's a great movie, and it doesn't exactly have the same effect. I still get a little choked up, but I don't openly weep and like my jaw doesn't hurt and all that kind of thing. Rory O'Shea Was Here, otherwise known at some points as Inside I'm Dancing. This is just a fantastic movie. It is so incredibly well acted, it is so heartfelt, and I didn't know anything about it. I just randomly watched it one day and it just it hit me deep in the center. By the time the credits were rolling, everything, out of my nose, my eyes, my ears might have been bleeding, I have no idea. It was a mess. But to this day, I still recommend it to everybody, and if you haven't seen it, you should check it out because it is a fantastic movie. And lastly, the movie that wrecked me probably more than any other movie, and the one I will never see again, even though it is quite good, but I really don't want to go through it again, Dancer in the Dark. Starring Bjork, amazingly well done movie, very experimental, all digital, handheld. If you either get into it or it annoys you the entire time. But I was sucked into it and I'm watching it, and for those who haven't seen it, there's really no way to give away anything. For those who have seen it, you know what the hell I'm talking about. And when that movie was over, I felt nauseous. Not from the motion of the camera, just from the sadness. I felt sick. And I remember coming out of that movie with two friends of mine in Seattle, and we had seen it at like midnight. And we came out like 2 a.m, and they were like, wow, that was a heavy movie. That was depressing. And I'm like, I can't even talk. I am just shut down. And then they're like, hey, that place serves breakfast. Want to get something to eat? I was like, how could you guys possibly eat at a time like this? I ended up having, I think, like orange juice, and that was it. And I could barely hold that down. I was a mess. At least inside. I think I was holding it in, but it hurt. It hurt a lot. So maybe I'm giving you a little insulation that if you do want to see that movie, just be prepared. It will fuck you up. So that's the top 10 movies that wrecked me. If you've got movies that wrecked you that I didn't mention, go ahead and put them in the comments down below. Let me know the ones that really just tear you open. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. See y'all tomorrow, and as always, be good to each other.